noticed on March 8, 2023. This hearing is to receive your comments on the joint proposal filed in these proceedings on February 16th of 2023. Under New York State law, the Public Service Commission may adopt, reject the joint proposal in whole or in part, or modify it. The Public Service Commission will decide what Con Edison's terms and conditions of service will be. The Public Service Commission has 7 members, the chairperson, Rory Christian, and 6 commissioners, and they are Diane Berman, James Alessi, Tracy Edwards, John Howard, David Valesky, and John Majori. And I'm very pleased to announce that today we have Commissioner Tracy Edwards attending this afternoon. Commissioner, would you like to address the participants?
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. I'm just here to listen. It's very important for you to participate in this process, and it's also very important for us to be here with you so that we can hear your comments and thoughts real time. So you will not be hearing from me anymore, but I will be on for the entirety of the call. Thank you very much, Judge, and let's get started.
Great, thank you. Okay, I will just take a moment now to go over the process that we will follow today. As stated, the purpose of our hearing is to provide you with an opportunity to tell the Commission your thoughts on the joint proposal and Con Edison's proposed rates. The statements that you make today will become part of the official case record. We do have a court reporter joining us today who will be preparing a transcript of the hearing, which will be again included in the case record so that your comments can be considered by all of the members of the Commission. And when it is ready, the transcript will be available for viewing on the Department of Public Service website. This hearing is not an evidentiary hearing, and it's not a question and answer forum, but really this is a forum for us to hear from you today regarding the proposals before the Commission. I would also like to highlight that it's not the only opportunity for comment. If you did not register to speak at today's hearing, but you would like your views included in the record, there are a variety of other ways to comment that were listed in the public notice for today's event. You can do so by submitting comments on the department's website, by email, regular mail, or by phone. For those of you who are joining us electronically, those different methods are also on the screen before you. And regardless of how comments are submitted, they will be given equal consideration. Comments may be submitted and will be considered throughout the pendency of these proceedings. We did request that comments come in by April 14th, but again, they will be considered so long as the case is pending before the Commission. If you have registered to make a statement, we ask that you please summarize any lengthy written statements orally and then submit the full written statement by email or mail. We do have people who have registered to speak both electronically and by phone. In either case, we ask that you please just have one audio input from one device. Otherwise, you may experience some problems with feedback during the hearing. I will call the people that have registered to speak one by one. If someone is not available when I call them, I will continue on to the next person, and we will come back at the end to see whether any of the folks who were unavailable are on the line and ready to make their comments. For telephone participants, when I call out your name, I will ask that you press *3 on your telephone so that we can recognize you and unmute your line. It might just take us a moment to locate you, so please make sure to wait until you hear a beep or you are notified that your line has been unmuted before you speak. And again, if you've muted your own phone, please take yourself off mute before we get to you. For those folks who have registered electronically, after I call your name, we will unmute your line. You should hear a tone and see that the microphone icon is no longer red. Again, please be reminded that if you have connected through your telephone line and you've put that on mute, to unmute yourself before you begin your statement. I will start by calling on members of the public who have registered to speak, and then I will move to any individuals who have registered to speak that are parties to the proceedings. although I don't believe we have any for this afternoon. And I would just remind everyone to please speak slowly and clearly so that the court reporter can accurately capture your statement for the record. When your line is unmuted, please state your name, and if you're speaking on behalf of an organization, the name of that organization. And once we confirm that we can hear you, you can proceed to make your comment. So with that, we will turn to our first speaker, who is David Tubiolo. And again,
David might have called in your own.
Yep, and if you have called in, if you could press *3 on your phone, and I think we have a hand up, Mr. White, call-in user 4. And your line has been unmuted.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi, it's David Tubiolo. How's it going?
Good, thank you.
I can speak now?
Yes, you can.
Thank you so much for everyone having this wonderful forum and opportunity. So I'm a Westchester County legislator, District 14, proudly representing the great cities of Yonkers and Mount Vernon, and I appreciate your time and this forum. I have grave concerns regarding the increase of rates and everything else for gas and Con Ed, and I'm right now just trying to ask respectfully that we do not do that. Right now, affordability is very important. We have so many people under financial stress from the economy, from everything in between, from basic groceries to gas, of course, to everyday living expenses, rent, mortgage rates going up as well with the Federal Reserve. And I respectfully request that we do not do this and we do something to help out as a team and effort. I'm always happy to have a conversation. I'm always happy to have a discussion and to help figure out a plan. Right now, Westchester County, especially urban centers like Yonkers and Mount Vernon, a lot of people just can't afford anything to increase or raise. So respectfully, I'm requesting that we do not do this, and I'm happy to always give my information out and have a meeting with anyone who wants to have that discussion further. I appreciate the opportunity. I'll be quick, because I'm sure there's quite a few people here that want to speak as well. Once again, I'm David Tubiolo, Westchester County legislator, proudly representing the great cities of Yonkers and Mount Vernon in Westchester County, District 14. So thank you so much for the opportunity. And just to reiterate, please let's not raise anything and keep them at the levels they are because of affordability for the everyday person. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. And we will turn next to Nancy Barr. And again, if you've called in, if you could press *3 on your telephone, that will help us to locate you. Okay, your line has been unmuted. Hello?
Thank you. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, could you just please state your name again and then go ahead and make your statement?
Absolutely. My name is Nancy Barr. I am a Westchester County legislator representing District 6. I am also the vice chair of the Board of Legislators as well as the chair of the Committee on Environment, Energy, and Climate. And I would like to read a statement that we are submitting to the PSC. We have voted this resolution out of committee and intend to vote on it Monday night by the entire board. So if you'll just bear with me, it's not very long, I will read it into the record. Good.
Nope, Ms.
Okay.
Barr, we didn't lose you, did
Sorry,
we?
okay. No, they're just somebody, the phone was, there was an automatic voice talking to me on the phone. Resolution in opposition to Consolidated Edison's proposed electric and gas rate hikes. Whereas Westchester County is composed of residents from a diverse range of socioeconomic backgrounds, many of whom are struggling to make ends meet in the face of high energy costs. And whereas, in addition to staggering utility bills, inflation burdens Westchester County residents with escalating costs of essentials such as food, medicine, transportation, and housing, and many residents and businesses are continuing to recover from the effects of the pandemic. And whereas Con Edison Company of New York is a regulated utility providing electric and gas services in Westchester County, New York, where customers have no choice over energy providers. And whereas, as of July 22nd, 2022, almost 400,000 New York City and Westchester Consolidated Edison customers were behind on their utility bills, averaging $2,146 in debt per household. And whereas, in 2019, the Public Service Commission granted Consolidated Edison 3 consecutive years of delivery rate increases, and for the same consecutive 3 years, Consolidated Edison has posted consistent annual revenue and income gains, while residents have struggled to choose between heat and other necessities in the same period. And whereas Consolidated Edison now requests PSC approval for additional delivery rate increases over the next 3 years, which would impose a 3-year cumulative total gas delivery bill revenue increase of 31.3% and a 3-year cumulative total electric delivery bill revenue increase of 19.8% on top of market-driven increases in the supply cost of electric and gas. And whereas Consolidated Edison's proposed rate increases would further reduce the purchasing power of the federal low-income home energy assistance program, a program critical to low-income residents. And whereas New York's Climate Leadership and Community Protection Act requires utility providers to place emphasis on the investment in electrification and specific targeted emission reductions in disadvantaged communities. And whereas Con Edison's proposed rate increases are in large part supporting improvements in fossil fuel infrastructure, now therefore be it resolved that the Westchester County Board of Legislators strongly opposes Consolidated Edison's proposed rate increases because hardworking New Yorkers laboring to meet compounding financial demands should not be forced to shoulder these rate increases. Resolved further that to more closely align with New York State's aggressive climate goals, the Westchester County Board of Legislators urges the New York State Public Service Commission to require Consolidated Edison to prioritize electrification over investment in fossil fuel infrastructure without burdening New York ratepayers. And resolve further that the clerk of the Westchester County Board of Legislators is hereby directed to send a copy of this resolution to the Westchester County federal and state delegations, the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, the New York State Public Service Commission, and the New York State Department of Public Service. I really thank you for the time and for listening, and we hope that this can be resolved to favor the residents of New York. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Our next speaker is Leslie Neely, and if you've called in, if you could press *3 on your phone. Leslie Neely. Okay. And your line has been unmuted. Hello?
Hello?
Hi, yes. Are you Leslie Neely?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was just listening in.
Oh, sure. Well, we'll open it up in a little while for anyone else who would like to make a statement. So we'll come back with you. Thank you. Our next speaker then will be, and I would like to apologize in advance if I mispronounce anyone's name, Sue Gevargive. And if you have joined us electronically, I don't believe I see that name. If you've joined us by phone, if you could press *3, that will help us to locate you. Sue Gevargive. Okay, we will move on to Concheta Vaughn. And if you could press *3 if you've called in, then we will be able to recognize you and unmute your line. Okay. And your line is unmuted.
Hello.
Hi there. Did you want to make a statement?
I certainly do.
Could you please state your name and then go right ahead?
My name is Kenzetta Varner, and I don't have a whole entourage that have signed a lot of petitions, et cetera, I'm just a little woman who's living in a home, and as I sit here on this phone, I have in front of me 7 years of Con Edison bills. My current Con Edison bill was $962. The month before that, it was $1,088. This has been a thorn in my side for many years, that Con Edison and I are not very far apart at any given time. I've called my representatives. I've called my people at the church. I've spoken to people at the beauty parlor. Everywhere I go, they will ask me, how is Con Edison this month? And it's because I have no recourse. I can't seem to get any kind of assistance. I can't seem to get any kind of help. I'm 86 years old. I'm living in a home, and I say to everybody, when I can't pay my Con Edison bill any longer, that's when they'll take my house away from me. I notice everyone, or most people who get on, I was on yesterday, listening, on today, they're either in an organization, they're head of a committee, whatever, and they're speaking, but not from the kind of experience that I'm speaking. Con Edison has become such a thorn in my side that in order not to be stressed every month, I now have them automatically take the money out of my checking account so that if there is no more, I can't spend anymore. I have nowhere to turn. And now when I started reading that Con Edison is applying for as much as a 20% increase, 20% or $962 or $1,088, where am I going to get this money from to pay this bill? I won't eat. I won't sleep. It's an impossible situation. And I don't want to burden the entire world or whoever's listening to this call to my problems. But something has to be done. I speak to people throughout the country, throughout the United States. Why is it in New York that it is so, so high? I spoke to my cousin down in South Carolina. When was it? Sunday or Monday? I can't remember now which. And her entire utility bills for the month, any given month, runs between $300 and $350. Why am I paying over $1,000 a month? Not just this month. I mean, and all of these increases, I could go back 5 years and not one have I ever been notified we're going to increase your Con Edison bill $50, $60. Once they sent me a Con Edison bill a few years back, and it was under $500. I called them to find out what happened to the bill. Why did it go down? Well, they couldn't answer that either. The same as they couldn't answer or wouldn't answer whenever I said, why is my bill increasing like this? I thank you for your time. Whoever the people that have been on that says that Con Edison does not deserve this increase, I can't speak for anyone else but myself personally. And believe me when I tell you, like homes, same number of members in the home. I've gone up and down my block trying to verify why am I paying so much. I thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. And ma'am, if you do have questions about your bill, you can certainly reach out to the Department of Public Service. And
Reach out to who? Reach out to who?
To the Department of Public Service. We have an Office of Consumer Services, and there is a hotline, and I'll give you that number. It is
Thank you.
1-800-342-3355. And again, it's 1-800-342-3355. So if you do have questions about your bills, you're more than welcome to reach out to the department, as in addition to reaching out to Con Edison.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your comment. Okay, our next speaker is Diane Donert.
Hello.
Hi there.
Hi, how are you? Thank
Good.
you.
Thank you. Please go right ahead and make your comment.
Okay, thank you. My understanding is this meeting is to raise prices, and I'd like to, I strongly oppose that. My husband and I are blue collar employees with 3 little children. Being that we're civil servants, there has been no opportunities for raises because unions, the city, and the state are not offering raise increases in our contracts. So with no raise increases and the cost of energy going up, in addition to anything else, I'm not sure what we're expected to do. In regards to Con Edison specifically, we can barely pay the bill as it is now. We've been put in debt on several occasions because of Con Edison, and it's very sad what is happening. I actually have family who work for the company, Con Edison. As you know, there's very little perks to that in terms of saving wise. And perhaps you can look within the company to save some money. I'm sure you can lower some salary of the upper management and stop some of the wasteful spending that I'm sure the company is having, as well as laying off contractors that I know you guys contract the jobs out to instead of using your Con Ed employees. So I understand inflation is going up. I understand the economy. However, for the middle class, where there's absolutely no opportunity to gain more money because of the jobs that we have, that we went to school to do, it's very sad what's happening to the middle class and to people who are just trying to survive.
Thank you very much for your comment.
Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Priti Khatri.
They may have called in, Your Honor.
In that case, if you've joined us by phone, if you could press *3, that'll help us to locate you. Okay, we'll move on to Kirsten Harry. And again, if you've called in, if you could press *3, Kirsten Harry. Okay, we'll move next to Richard Kovarovic. Richard Kovarovic. And if you've called in, if you could press *3. Okay, I'm not seeing him. Our next speaker then will be Michael Foucher. And again, if you have called in, if you could press *3. Move on then to James Gronier. James Gronier. And again, if you've called in, if you could press *3. Francis Snedeker. And again, if you've called in, press *3, Francis Snedeker. Okay, our next speaker then will be Srinivasan Ramaswamy.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I'm a resident of Westchester County, and I'm a Con Ed consumer on the electric side. In addition to that, I'm also a district leader for the Cortland Democratic Committee. And I did hear someone from the Westchester County Board of Legislators speak earlier, and I strongly support the county's position as to opposing any rate increases for Con Ed. I think the previous approval from the PSC to Con Ed still stands, and I think they've got their rate increases. And just to give some perspective, I've been in Westchester County for 15 years. And in that time, the Con Ed bills have doubled. So they've had a 100% increase in pricing. And this is due to the fact that Con Ed has a monopoly in Westchester County. And I think the PSC should seriously look into bringing in other providers so that we have competitive pressures on the service providers who provide electric and gas to residents of the county. So I don't want to take up more time than that, but I think my position is to oppose any rate increases for Con Ed, both on the gas side and the electric side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker will be Maurice Owen McChain. Maurice Owen McChain, and if you have called in, if you could press *3, please. Okay, we'll move on to Charles Carway. And again, if you've called in, if you could press *3. Charles Carway. Okay, we'll move then to Benjamin Sloan. And if you've called in, if you could press *3. Okay, Jador Praler. Jador Praler. And if you've called in, again, if you could press *3. Okay, Nichelle Johnson. And again, if you've called in, if you could press *3. Barbara Tepper. And I believe she has logged on electronically. Barbara Tepper. Bear with us while we unmute your line. Okay, Mr. White, are you able to unmute Ms. Tepper? Oh, I think it just came through.
Yes, it did. Hi, this is Barbara Tepper. I moved to Westchester County about 4 years ago. And when I was in New York City, my electric bills supplied by Con Ed, I thought were high, considering that the only thing on the electric bill would be the lights, the computer, the TV, the washing machine, and the dishwasher. I had gas heat, gas hot water, a gas dryer, and cooking gas. And I thought they were high for electric, for the little bit of electricity that I was using. Considering at that time we were also working full time, my husband and I, and there was nobody home all day, so the lights were off and nothing was happening in the house all day. I come up here to Westchester County and I'm finding that my gas, which is now supplied by Con Ed, is ridiculously high. I have everything here what I have in gas is the I have the cooking stove, and only if the temperature goes below 40 degrees does my heating system go to gas. Other than that, everything else is electric. In New York City, my gas bill, which was not supplied by Con Ed, it varied between, it was Keyspan, it was National Grid, it was various suppliers. I was on a budget plan. I paid $74 a month for the gas, heat, hot water, everything in New York City. Heat, hot water, the cooking stove, the gas dryer, $74 a month on a budget plan. I come up here and my gas, which is just the stove, and if the temperature goes below 40 degrees, is $68 a month. I'm not basically heating my house. Everything else is electric. I have electric dryer, electric hot water, electric heat, as long as it's above 40 degrees. And my electric bills are not as bad, and my electricity is supplied by NYSEG. So I think I would really like to see Con Ed be there investigated by the Public Service Commission, because their rates, when you compare them to other suppliers in New York State, are ridiculously high. Ridiculously high. And I agree with the previous speaker who said that, she's a blue collar worker working for the, working for the county. And I agree with her. Look into their perks for their high end, their upper management. It's just ridiculous. They really should be investigated. Why? And why are their rates so high compared to other suppliers in the Northeast even? And basically that's what I would like to say. So I hope that somebody, the Public Service Commission, will look into this, because they're just too expensive. And to raise their rates is crazy. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comment. Our next speaker will be Bruce Rosen. Bruce Rosen? Yes, I can.
Okay, so it's not on my end. Bruce was on, and then he
Dropped off?
something happened. Yeah. But the next speaker is here.
Hello.
Oh, there's Bruce. Go ahead, Bruce.
Okay. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. I have to say that I'm not one of those. I reside in New York City. I do have Con Ed. I'm not one of those facing these profoundly onerous rate increases. My concern is twofold, that Con Ed, as simply a distributor of energy, has been pushed since the Bloomberg administration to expand its gas network. That is going in the opposite direction of what the state wishes to lead, which is renewable source. Natural gas is not a renewable source. The other thing, per electricity, which, as you know, can have a number of ways of generation, it's my concern. I use the facility of having an independent operator, and I have level billing. And I'm always encountering people who have never heard of those. They don't know how they operate. I think it's incumbent not only upon Con Ed in their service area, which of course also includes Orange and Rockland, which they own, but also using the facility of the state public service, to make people aware of this alternative way through designating an independent supplier. Your bill is funneled through Con Ed or whomever else it would be, and to have the level billing. But Con Ed had said, and Con Ed had said over a decade ago, that they would have to dramatically expand their gas system because the system was originally established only in effect, one, to provide gas lighting, which we have long not had, and secondarily, to provide gas for stoves, not for heating. That's a lot more. So I think it's incumbent upon the State Public Service Commission to work with Con Ed to get them as a conduit for energy, to provide other energy sources, to not continue to expand their gas sources, to be consistent and aggressive in moving the state's efforts at renewable energy, which we have the capability of doing. So I thank you for this opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much. And our next speaker will be Cal Salim. And just bear with us a moment while we unmute your line. Cal Salim. All right, seems like we have just a moment of delay on our side here. And I believe your line has been unmuted.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Cal Salim. I am a resident of Westchester in Valhalla. I've been here for almost 12 years, moved up from Queens. And as you've heard from the other attendants, I'm basically going through the same thing. Just hearing that poor woman, Conchetta, I believe her name is, just to hear what she's going through is insane, to use the term lightly, I guess. As another speaker mentioned, I've also seen my bill increase 100%. I look at my bill and I cannot understand or see the justification for these charges. I'm not familiar with the nuances of independent suppliers, etc. All I know is that in my area, the only supplier I can use is Con Edison. That being said, based on what I see in these charges, I also feel that Con Edison needs to be investigated by a third party. They're definitely doing something wrong, or perhaps there's some corruption going on there. I also talked to family members and friends in the Northeast. They are not being charged what we are being charged here in Westchester County. And, you know, these are friends that are very close. Location-wise, I'm talking about Connecticut, New Jersey, Long Island even. When I tell them what I pay for gas and electric, they're dumbfounded. There is definitely something wrong with the structure within Con Edison that, you know, they feel that they have to get these increases to function. I mean, I'm almost to the point where I'm speechless that they're asking for additional rate increases. I don't see what the justification is. This will definitely cause. I've spoken to numerous neighbors where some have gone to burning wood to heat their homes. Others have looked into getting diesel generators to get electricity for their homes. this is going to spread within Westchester County because we don't have the choice other than using this monopoly of a company, Con Edison, for energy. The Department of Public Service needs to look into providing alternatives other than Con Edison for energy supply for the citizens of Westchester County. This just can't go on. In my opinion, this will cause, or hopefully it doesn't, will probably cause the gutting of Westchester County middle class. We have no alternative but to just move. So I thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak, and I strongly object to any rate increases, not only in the coming 3 years, but 15 years out. I mean, it's just insane what they're charging for energy. There's just no justification when you, relative to other companies that supply energy across the Northeast, even across the country. It just does not make sense. There's something inherently wrong and it needs to be investigated. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, that concludes the list I have of registered speakers. What I'm going to do is to just go back through to see whether any of the folks who have registered have joined us and are interested in making a statement. I'll start with Leslie Neely. And if you have joined us by phone, if you could press *3, Leslie Neely. Okay. Sue Gavargive. And again, if you've called in, if you could press *3. Okay. Preeti Khatri. Kirsten Harries. Richard Kovarovic. Michael Foucher. James Gronier. Francis Snedeker. Maurice Owen McChain. Charles Caraway. Benjamin Sloan. Jador Praler. Michelle Johnson. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any of those persons with us today. I do see a number of people who have joined us who may not have registered, but if you would like to make a statement, we would certainly like to hear from you. If you have joined us and you've not registered but would like to make a statement, if you've joined electronically, you can use the raise hand function, and that will help us to locate you and unmute your line. Or if you have joined us by phone today and would like to make a statement, if you press *3 on your telephone, that will indicate your interest in speaking and we can unmute your line. Okay.
We have a speaker, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. White. And your line's been unmuted.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, if you would like to make a statement, please just...
Yes, I certainly would. My name is Betty White. I've been a resident for many, many years of Westchester County. I agree with the former callers, except I am calling for a decrease in Con Ed rates. I think that their poor service on outages is a disgrace in itself, and the cost that I would like to see a public audit of the company, and I would like to see an examination of the executive salaries of that company. I also call people to organize, which I will do, to have peaceful protests in front of the PSC as well as the Con Ed plants in order to get a decrease in Con Ed rates. So as you can see, I'm certainly not for an increase. I am a senior citizen, and what will happen in New York State, as you've heard from others, is that we will be priced out of New York State. We will simply have to move certainly away from any Con Ed supply centers. I think I'd like the PSC to further survey different energy providers in order to replace Con Ed, which is a monopoly in my area, and to offer us alternatives at the proper rates. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And I'm sorry, could you please just state your name again? I want to make sure that we have it for our court reporter.
Certainly. Betty Weitz, W-E-I-T-Z.
Thank you so much. Okay. And I see we have another call-in user, and your line has been unmuted. Could you please just state and spell your name for our court reporter, and then go ahead and make your statement?
Sure, not a problem. Good afternoon. My name is Kenneth Fields. I have been a resident of Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn all my life. I've had Con Ed with my family for many years and probably for their predecessor. However, I'm calling because I'm not for an increase in rates. I do agree with one of the callers that the bills themselves carry several levels of fees, especially living within the city. There's also a city cost, I'm noticing, also a local tax. I do understand that, you know, increase or living wages are increasing, and I do get that for some. However, we're in a recession, and people are losing their jobs all over. And for a merchant or a utility company to introduce higher rates, it would really take people out of their homes, out of their living situations, to a place where they may not receive that increase themselves on their own families, for their own family support. So I do not agree with a rate increase at this time.
Thank you very much for your comments. Okay, I'll just ask again, if you have joined us today and you would like to make a statement, if you have joined electronically, you're welcome to use the raise hand function to let us know you're interested in making a comment. Or if you have joined us by phone, you can press *3 on your telephone, and that will indicate your interest, and we can go ahead and unmute your line. And Mr. White, I am not seeing any additional hands raised. Is that your same understanding?
Yes, Shona, yes. No raised hands.
Okay. Well, with that then, I will just take this opportunity to remind members of the public that you may submit public comments throughout these proceedings and by the other means described earlier and that are on your screen if you're joining us electronically, and also in the notice of public statement hearing that was issued on March 8, 2023. We have requested that comments be filed by April 14, 2023, but we will be accepting them throughout the case, well as before the commission. I am noticing we do have one additional hand raised, and we heard from Mr. Salim, but Mr. White, could you just go ahead and unmute his line? Mr. Salim, did you care to make an additional statement?
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to add that if any of the other listeners and the board members yourselves are curious, there is also a petition on change.org that has close to 9,500 signatures with regards to Con Edison's delivery charges and that they must change. I just wanted to get that out there so that people know. Change.org. Just search for a petition. Con Edison's delivery charges must change. We really need to get the word out, excuse me, that, this is absurd. They're asking for more, and they're already probably the highest energy supplier in the country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, and I see that Diane Donert has her hand raised. Ms. Donert, did you wish to make an additional statement?
I actually have a question. Am I allowed to ask a question?
Well, this is actually for a public statement hearing, so it's really not meant to be a question and answer session. But if you have a question that's either regarding the case or regarding your bill specifically, the number that I gave out earlier, which I will repeat, you could call that number and hopefully your question could be answered. And if you'd like, I can repeat that number for you.
Yes. When will we know a decision? They'll have the answer for that question?
No, so there is not a set time frame for a determination. The case is still ongoing. There are additional procedural steps that the parties in the case are taking. We have a schedule for submitting documents by the parties who've been active in shaping the record in the case. So the evidentiary portion of the case is still open. So it is not, a decision is not immediately forthcoming, but I do not have a particular date that I can provide you with.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're quite welcome. And just for anyone who is on the line who may have a question about their specific bill or any process regarding rates, I can also direct you again to the Department's Office of Consumer Services, and that's a 1-800 number. It is 1-800-342-3377. So with that, I will just again remind everyone that there are other ways to comment. If you are participating electronically, they are on the screen before you. They are also included in the Notice of Public Statement Hearings that was issued on March 8th, 2023. There will be another public statement hearing this afternoon starting at 5 p.m. And so with that, Judge Costello and I would like to thank all of the commenters for your participation and your comments today. We really appreciate that. And also our thanks to Commissioner Edwards for being present here with us today, and the staff from our Consumer Services Office for administering the session, as well as our court reporter. So with that, again, thank you everyone very much for your time and participation today, and our hearing is concluded and we will go off the record.
Thank you. Have a good day, everyone.
Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.